Yo, this your boy EC22 of the FairWeather Fan channel. Man, please, man. First of all, before we go any further, like, subscribe, leave comments. That'll help this channel grow. But yo, man, we about to just go do a real recap of week 13. But as always, welcome to the show. Once again, my co-host, your favorite Philly fan, Max. What's going on? As you can see, he's hiding his face because obviously we all know what happened on Sunday. But Max, what do you got for people?
I'm mad at what's going on in the college football ranks, man.
That's exactly why you upset. I totally understand that. Man, listen, once again, y'all see this, man. This is a nice FairWeather Fan mug, man. I like it, man. Over on Drip Valley 1 on Instagram. Drip Valley 1 on Instagram, man. Please go over there. They got a lot of different stuff. You can get t-shirts, tumblers, and stuff like that. So go mess with my girl Courtney on Drip Valley 1 on Instagram. Man, Max, let's just dive right into it, man.
Right.
Let's do a real quick cover, just a real quick rundown of the high school playoff, Texas high school playoffs. So right now, 6A Division 1, Class 6A Division 1, Duncanville versus North Crowley. They're playing at Mesquite Memorial Stadium on Saturday, December 9th at 3 p.m. If you're over in that area, please go check out and support North Crowley as well as Duncanville. 6A Division 2, and these are all the semifinals. So we're coming down, and these only North Texas teams. So Duncanville and North Crowley, if they win this game, they'll be in the finals. Class 6A Division 2, DeSoto versus South Lake Carroll. They're playing over in Allen at the Allen Eagle Stadium at the Allen High School. Also on December 9th at 2 p.m. So games be going on at the same time. Class 5A Division 1, we got Forney and Aledo. They're playing in Midlothian ISD Rosler Athletic Complex. That's about maybe 10-minute drive south of Cedar Hill. So it's not still within the Metroplex. They're playing on Friday, 12/8 at 7:30 p.m. Then Class 5A Division 2, the South Dakota Golden Bear versus Emerson. They're playing at the Fort Center Star. Emerson is a Frisco ISD high school, but the school is actually in McKinney. And then, of course, and they're playing the Fort Star Center on Friday, December 8th at 7 p.m. Woo! And speaking of playoffs, and since you brought it up earlier, what do you think about the whole shenanigans behind the NCAA playoff selection?
It's crazy how you leave out an undefeated team out of it. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that this first round, that both undefeated teams get taken out so that FSU will be the only undefeated team in all of college, and they didn't
Yeah.
even make it into the top 4 or the championship.
Well, at least in the Power Five, I think there's I know San Diego State, but there's 2 other undefeated teams, but they're in conferences that nobody really looks at, which is a sad shame. But see, can I pull it up real quick? I was doing my research on it the other day. Let's do a real quick of the hey standings. So you got obviously Florida State for the ACC. Where's my rank? I should have done the rankings. That's what I should have done. This thing is crazy. It was the Liberty Flames, wherever that is. They're in the Conference USA. They're undefeated. But like I say, nobody's watching Conference USA, at least in football. Then you got San Diego State that's undefeated. So that's how that goes. But bruh, you talking about I don't what I'm about to say about this whole playoff is about to be somewhat a little bit confusing for most. Because I'm gonna seem flaky and wishy-washy, but I have to give my real truth behind what I think about this playoffs. Are you ready? Here we go. First of all, the FairWeather Fan, we support Big 12, and a good congratulations to Texas Longhorns for making it to the playoff selection in the playoff. Yes, sir. We're so happy that the Horns got in there. Big 12. And it's our last year in the Horns last year in the Big 12. So at least we go out with a bang. Thank God Texas got in. With that being said, I am not happy about what happened. Uh, what's happening with the NCAA is just wrong on so many levels. We all know that the way they select the rankings and stuff, it's always been suspect at best. When you talk about Power Five schools, right? Or Power Five conferences, right? You got the Big 10, Big 12, Pac 12, ACC, and the SEC, right? The fact that we even have a big or a Power Five conferences says a whole lot about the direction that college football has been going for years, and these are the Power Five, at least when it comes to the football. But when they do decide to make a playoff, they're going to make it a 4-team playoff versus a 16 playoff, which makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? If you got 5 that are power conferences, then should at least make it 6 the way all 5 power conferences get a chance to get in it.
Back in the day, used to be they would only choose 2 teams to compete for the trophy, and that was it. Then they
Yeah,
changed the format to 4, but now they're talking about they might change the format to 12 teams next season.
they will change it to the 12-team playoffs, which would be cool. And that's a whole nother conversation for about how that's supposed to work. I actually like the 2 teams that were selected for the national championship, because you had all these bowl games. You had one bowl game that was the national championship game. I like that, but having a playoff system, if you're not gonna make it fair, don't make it at all, right? I think the 12-team format will be a little bit fair for some of these other conferences to get in there. But at the end of the day, you got 5 conferences that are considered a Power 5. Out of those 5, only 3 went undefeated and won their championship. SEC had Georgia and Alabama in the championship game. Georgia was undefeated going to the game, they lose. Texas had 1 loss on the record to Oklahoma, and they ended up playing the Oklahoma State team, who was, it was okay. They far down on the list. And then they win their conference. Man, listen. The fact that they left Florida State out, I don't care. Here's the things I'm hearing. Here's the things I've been hearing. First of all, the rules behind the strength of schedule is reason. That's one reason why they left Florida State out, saying because they're in the ACC, the strength of schedule wasn't as great compared to the Big 12, SEC, and the Big 10 and Pac-12. My companion is then if that's the case, then Georgia shouldn't have got in. Just straight up, if that's the case, then Georgia shouldn't have got in, because it ain't like Georgia may play some decent teams, but if that case, then Georgia should have got in, because Georgia in the SEC had a tough schedule. That's what I mean by that. If they're talking about strength of schedule, then the fact that Georgia should have got in there. Then it said them taking FSU losing their starting quarterback into consideration. The fact that they lost their starting quarterback and they're looking at the competition margin when it comes down to playoffs, them not being ready for that talent because they don't have their quarterback. My complaint is that they still won games without him, including the championship game. So I don't understand the logic behind that. So they didn't miss me with that. Then here's the one that really, really do you remember last week when Nick Saban got on national television saying that it would be disrespect or whatever the words he chose to use to leave an SEC team out of it? Basically trying to vouch for his team to get into the championship if they go in there and beat Georgia in the SEC championship game. But he said, regardless of the outcome of the game, you cannot leave an SEC team out of it, because he was probably confident that they was going to win that game, and that would put a loss on Georgia. So he was like, almost felt like that was kind of geared towards Florida State. You know what I'm saying? So that was just kind of slapping their face on that. But then again, why everybody rolling what Nick Saban say? If you can't, come on. Now who is he? I get he's Nick Saban. I'm not trying to disrespect the man for who he is, but at the end of the day, this is football. They want to make sure the best team go in based on TCU's performance last year. TCU, you already knew TCU got blew out by a wide mark. I think it was 65-7 last season. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't use that excuse because TCU beat Michigan in the semifinals of the playoffs by a larger margin that Georgia beat. I forgot who Georgia played last. I forgot who they played, but they beat them by a large margin. Georgia had a closer game and came out of the semifinals, but Texas but TCU beat up on Michigan. So, dude, this is sad. The kids, bro. What else you got to do? You win every single game.
I mean, Texas is only in there because they beat Alabama. So apparently, beating Alabama gets you in.
Apparently so. Beating Alabama, losing to Oklahoma wasn't good. It wasn't on the thing. And because they lost to Oklahoma and beating Alabama, they only had one chance after the win to get in was to win the Big 12 championship. If the Texas did not win the Big 12 championship, obviously there'd be 2 losses on their record. And then you have Georgia and Alabama both going in. I still think they would have kept FSU out, which just sucked, right? But real quick before we go into the NFL, this what makes sense, and this is the right thing. Now I get the media people who choose or who have a say so in this as far as how they cover the game is going to make every excuse and saying, hey, this is the format, this is what was in writing. So all these schools knew how they was going to judge this going into it. But at the end of the day, just because it's protocol or just because it's in writing, you have these guys in a room judging, that don't make it right and that don't make it fair. And at the end of the day, even though some of these analysts agree that it's not fair, they still don't justify the fact that you left the 13-0 team out of the championship playoff, which make no sense. It's a simple situation to me. You got Power 5 schools, you take the undefeated teams, you put them in there. At that point, you got one last spot to fight for. You turn around and you got Texas, Alabama, and Georgia. All right, how you gonna get in there? Alabama beating Georgia in the SEC championship game still to me wasn't enough to make a berth into the playoff. That 4th spot should have went to Georgia. That 3rd spot should have been the Big Ten championship, Michigan #1, the Pac-12, Washington #2. It should have been the ACC champions, FSU #3, and Georgia at #4. Texas should not have got into it. And I know how some folks may feel, I'm a Big 12 fan. I am glad and elated that Texas got into it. But at the end of the day, man, fair is fair. That's why we call ourselves the FairWeather Fan. Fair is fair. Texas should have been lost out. And I've heard excuses for Michigan. I've heard excuses for Alabama. I heard excuses for Washington. Haven't heard anything excuses for Texas. And then that leads to only one truth. Money. All this is about money.
We're an afterthought. They don't really care because they know we're not gonna get in.
It's all about money. The fact that Texas and the Big 12 got in that thing, it's all about the money. It's just all about the money, and that's the reason why I am a firm believer and supporter of the NIL deals. Because I mean, heck, if you're going off the college and playing. And out of all these schools, out of all these conferences, if you don't go to a Power 5 conference in football, you don't even have a chance at the playoff. At least in the current system, the 4-team system, you don't even have a chance at a national championship because you don't go to a Power 5 conference. So give me all the money I can. I'm going to have to fight for a bowl game or win my conference championship. That's the only thing you can fight for. But a national championship with the 14 roster, you don't have a chance. And that sucks. So I'm like, okay, these kids can go off and make their money right away. What you about to say?
Like, even if you're devoted your whole life to football and you go to a smaller school, there's no chance that you're going to come out of there going to the NFL. Why? Because you're getting outshined by all this media attention that's paying attention to the big colleges instead of these smaller colleges with smaller programs that have some diamonds in the rough,
You know how good you got to be? Like when I see teams from like HBCUs and I hear teams like so-and-so from Grambling or so-and-so from Prairie View, I'm looking like you ain't had no choice but to be a starter for NFL team to make it into it. You know what I'm saying? So those kids had to be the best of the best to coming from a low market HBCU to make it to the NFL. That says a lot about their skill set. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not getting that attention. That's one of the things that Dion was trying to change when he was in HBCU at Jackson State to try to bring some type of visibility to those talent. And then, of course, he took a lot of that talent with him to Colorado, and then they're going to come to the Big 12. The Big 12 is in trouble. The Big 12 is in trouble. We're taking the best two teams and take them to the SEC. But at the end of the day, the SEC is in trouble. You got Oklahoma and Texas joining you guys with all the other high-paced teams you got over there. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be fun to watch next year. I don't know when they're going to go to the 12-man playoff system, but I know it's soon. I don't know if it's next year, maybe the year after next, but it's going to be wild to watch it happen.
I think it will be next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was watching the Pat McAfee show and they were talking about it.
Yeah.
They're talking about how instead of 13 people deciding the rankings and all that, like, why not just have a computer do it for you, man? The computer will figure out everything instead of you being in the room with 12 other people sharing your opinion, trying all of y'all to agree with on the same thing when computer could just literally just base it all on numbers and choose instantly.
But do we look? No, I get the computer. I get the computer and stuff like that. But the thing about computers, man, there's always somebody driving algorithm, right? There's always going to be that human factor, right? At the end of the day, it should be some rules that are just completely cut dry. And because the way the new format is, because you're going to have a 12-man team, right? I mean, a 12-man playoff, right? The first 4 teams that make the playoffs have to be a team that won their division or their conference. You can't make a 1 through 4 without winning your conference. That's bottom line. So that's going to be interesting, right? Which, once again, you get into this Power 5 situation, but you only got the first 4 that's going to have the first round bye. All right. Once they pick 5 through 8, those teams get to choose. They will actually play a home game. I think this way they will play a home game for that first round. So they'll play a home game for their first round, and then a 9 through 12, obviously they'll be the visitors, and they'll just kind of come up in that thing. The second round is when you get into the bowl games. So the 1 through 4 we have the first round bye, they get to choose which bowl game they want to play in. Because they won their conferences, they had a first round bye, and so when they come around and play in their next round, that second round, they get to choose which bowl game they go into. Then at that point, it's just a waterfall until the finals. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be interesting to watch who out of the Power 5 get knocked out and goes into that first round with a chance to play a home game. But man, that's kind of where we at. You want to go ahead and kick off the NFL? Uh-oh. Let's see what Jerron has to say. Oh, my God. They already started. We ain't got there yet.
We're still in college football, man.
That's okay, Jerron. You go ahead and jump on it real quick. We're going into it right now. Max, go ahead and start off with that, man.
Oh, man.
How will you see fit?
This NFL week was pretty interesting for the wrong reasons. As you all know, my team lost. It's been a sad 48 hours aftermath of that. A lot of people have been asking me how I'm feeling. I'm feeling great, man. We're still number 1. Still the number 1 record in the league. Sometimes you gotta lose to get back into reality and steer your team in the right direction. I'm happy we lost in the season and not in the playoffs. We can still correct our issues, man.
He said we're there now.
We ain't in the playoffs yet.
Dang. Yeah, what with the black Air Force? Oh, man.
I know that's not a Tennessee Titan talking when his team ain't making any type of noise.
Hey. He has a voice too. All right. You know how to show. He has a voice too. Hey, real quick, the stat leaders this week, man. You got Jake Browning off of that last night game, man. He actually looked pretty good. So I think Cincinnati's in a good place to try to salvage their season over there. He looked pretty good with 354 yards. No interception, 1 touchdown. Geno Smith looked actually pretty good that Thursday night game, but it wasn't enough to beat the Cowboys. Brock Purdy, well, he looked good. 4 touchdowns. No interception. Yeah, no fumbles. You only got a chance to tackle him 2 times. Yeah, he looked real good. Gardner Minshew, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no INTs. And then Dak Prescott round at the bottom with just barely under 300 yards, 299, 3 touchdowns, but he got knocked down 4 times. Those are your stat leaders for the QB position. But obviously, the belt goes to Brock Purdy. And usually we don't really just go by stats to give a guy that belt. Dak, I'm sorry, I missed his comment. Dak and CD going to finish what the God, dog. Whoo, man. Yeah. We're going to get into that Thursday.
Save that till Thursday, man.
Yeah, we're going to get into those predictions on Thursday. But now, Brock get the championship. He get the belt. He get week 13 quarterback belt on that one, man. I mean, he put it on y'all. He put it on y'all. He put it on y'all. I mean, it was like, man, what they say on Menace Society, this is like Kane whipping your for that.
It was the whole team. It wasn't just Brock Purdy, man.
Yeah, they won by committee. We'll get into that later on. The rushing leaders, Isaiah Pacheco, 110 yards, 1 TD. James Conner, boy, he beat up the goddamn Steelers, man. I was upset at that guy, man. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's trying to crucify, oh, god dang, Glock Purdy? Is that what they call him now? That was kind of weak. I don't even know how to make that. Glock Purdy, Glock Purdy. Oh man, that's a T-shirt. Because he would boom, boom, boom on y'all. I'm sorry, we're gonna leave you alone, man. James Carter, the way he just did on Mike Tomlin, man. They already the rumors are they're trying to call for Mike Tomlin's head over that loss. I mean, come on, y'all, get real, people. It ain't that serious. Chuba Herbert, he helped me win my fantasy league with 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry got hurt with concussion. Since we're talking about Jerron, Derrick Henry did a thing, 102 yards, 2 TDs. Derrick Henry is back, and hopefully he'll get out of concussion protocol. It didn't look too serious to me, but hopefully he'll come back. And then you got Run CMC. God, dog, that's another person from 49ers that made this list. 93 yards and 1 touchdown. And, sorry, man. He got y'all. Receiving leaders, obviously Nico Collins. Man, what a great job for Mike Evans making his career, man. Getting up there and breaking history and stuff like that. I mean, doing his thing, man. Man, Mike Evans did his dang thing. Tyreek Hill, god dog. I mean, the most deadliest man in the whole goddamn world. Yep. King Henry back to form. And what do they say? You don't have to. You don't have to win, so we will be playing Monday night when the Dolphins beat us. God dang. Okay. That's what you predicted? You think the Dolphins gonna beat y'all 60-3? That's your team, man. I have faith.
It's gonna be a shout out.
Jamar Chase, 149. Tyreek Hill, 157. Debo Samuel. I mean, not Debo, but he's not on this list. We know Nico Collins still young. We know that Mike Evans is a vet. But between Tyreek Hill, a healthy Justin Jefferson, and a Jamar Chase, who you think? Who would you take?
Jamar. I would take Jamar Chase, man.
He said, Hill is going to have 200, 3 touchdowns. God dang, 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. God dang. Over the Titans. Woo-wee. Well, we'll see. I would love to see that. Because that'll definitely put him closer to getting that 2,000 yards for the season. Who'd you say out of those 3?
I would take Jamar Chase, man.
You'll take Jamar Chase over?
I would.
No, man, I'm sticking with Cheetah all day long, man. I'm sticking with Cheetah all day long, man, on that one. But man, Cowboys and the Seattle Seahawks Thursday night.
Geno Smith had 2 tries to win that game, and he failed both times. And that's what happens when you don't play a team that's elite.
They, yeah, I mean, I felt like the Cowboys did what they need to do. They win by committee. They won. It's kind of like how the Eagles has been winning. You don't want to do a whole lot, but at the end of the day, they took care of business. Jerron said that Tyreek Hill needs 514 to break the record, and he said Hill will be MVP. Well, do you think this is the year they choose a receiver after so many years to win league MVP, or are they gonna
Nope.
still try to stick with their point? Because I've heard Brock Purdy is the front runner. I know that name hunts you, but still, we got to be professionals here.
Brock Purdy shouldn't even be a front runner. They're basing it just on his performance against the Eagles, based it off of those 3 losses in a row he had as well. It's
Yeah,
like, you can't base it just off of one game, man.
I'm just saying this is not
Because
me. I mean,
if you're basing it on just 1 or 2 games, then Dak Prescott should be up there in the MVP conversation, you know?
he's up there. He's not at the top, but he's definitely in the conversation for MVP. But I think because the quarterback race right now is so close. Let's see what John has said about that. Exactly. Might as well change it to quarterback only award. Exactly, because they always want to choose a quarterback. Lamar Jackson was the front runner early in the middle of the season, and now it's coming down the stretch. I don't know why they've changed their mind on that, but I
But
don't
we
know.
can we can both agree that the MVP is going to come out of the NFC conference, right?
Yeah.
Because
Unless
it's
it's
going to
unless
come. It,
unless
it's
it's
going.
Tyreek Hill, unless they finally go with a receiver, because I mean, right
It,
now he's the one
it's
that's doing
going.
his same thing. He's being
Yeah,
most consistent. If he
and
get
then
2,000 yards and break that, then I don't see how he can be denied, and that's going to be a whole lot of controversy. So we'll see. Um, you said you wanted to talk about the Packers and the Kansas City Chiefs game.
I mean, Jordan Love is the guy, dude. I've been telling people I like Jordan Love.
You already got the anointing all out on him.
I told you a couple of weeks ago on this podcast that I believe in Jordan Love, even though
Yeah,
you told me I was crazy for it. I'm telling you, Jordan Love is the real deal. It's just they got such a young team. They have no experience. It's like their running back though hasn't been in the league for what 3-4 years. Their
yeah,
wide receivers are basically whole new wide receiver core since Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers left. Then they got some new tight ends. I mean, they're rebuilding, but they're rebuilding in the right directions. Matt LaFleur knows what he's doing. It just didn't look good those last 2 times Aaron Rodgers was there in the championship game. They lost them, you know?
I, I could be wrong. But when you're looking at somebody who's making their first year, because he's been in the league for a couple of years, but they finally get a chance to take over. When you look at people like Patrick Mahomes, his rookie year was cold. When you look at people like right now, it's CJ Stroud, cold. And year after year, Joe Burrow, first season, was cold. Tua Tagovailoa, first season, was doing his dang thing. These guys look like their rookie year, look like they belong. You know, Jordan Love seems he give me that backup quarter vibe, came in and stole the show vibe. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of what he gives you. It's like I don't see sustainability in him, just like I don't see sustainability in Brock Purdy. You know, I think something's going to happen because it's kind of like everybody jumped on the Justin Herbert bandwagon because he looked good during the time he did. Everybody jumped on the Carson Wentz bandwagon when he looked good, but none of that shows to me like it was sustainable. Now Carson Wentz, we and I talk. I was a believer in Carson Wentz, and I thought he couldn't do no wrong, even when he was just struggling. I was still like, man, Carson Wentz is going to be all right. But then, you know, time said otherwise. All the injuries and stuff caught up to him.
Yeah,
But
it was
I
all
never,
injuries.
I put Justin Herbert last year in my quarterback elite category or up and coming category. Only did it because there just wasn't enough quarterbacks around. But you have never heard me throw out Justin Herbert as being that dog of a quarterback. Everybody else keep throwing him out there. They keep making excuses for him because he don't throw interceptions. I don't care if you throw interceptions or not. At the end of the day, you need to win a game. 6 points out of all these other teams has been beating down the Patriots. Y'all managed to just put up 6 points against the sorry Patriots. I don't understand, bro.
Like
I don't understand.
said,
You might as well lost that game.
It's not Justin Herbert's fault, man. Like I keep on telling you, it's the head coach, man. He should have been fired. He should have been fired a long time ago. He should have been fired the after the game against Jacksonville in the playoffs, man. He should have just been let go a long time ago. I don't know why they're still holding on to him. But Stacy should have been a long time ago. And I'll be surprised if he'll be in the organization next season. That dude needs to go, man. He's holding back the team.
Bruh, they come out, punt. They got the ball back on the fumble, still punt it. New England punt, they punt. New England punt, they get the field goal. New England punt, they punt. New England punt, they get the field goal. And that was at the end of the second quarter, and nobody scored in halftime. It was just punt, 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 turnover on downs, punt, turnover on downs in the game. I'm sorry. That's all. Come on now. At some point, you got to make something happen, Justin Herbert. You are the leader of that team on that field. I mean, heck, do something. I ain't saying put 30 points up on them like other people have been doing, but more than 2 field goals. Yeah, part of it has to do with the coaching situation over there, but God dog it. He don't get to take it by himself. I'm sorry. He don't get to take it by himself. This from an elite quarterback. Because you and I know, had it been Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott, because matter of fact, when y'all in the same situation the Cowboys was in a few weeks ago, when the Cowboys they put up 19 points over the 42 and then y'all put up 10. So they still put up 42 points on both on the Phillies, on the Cowboys and the Eagles, right? Everybody was calling for Dak job, saying he was the worst of the worst. He can't grow no more. They don't know what to do with him, blah, 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 blah. And now they're trying to say the thing, not necessarily about Jalen Hurts, about the Eagles organization as a whole. Oh, they're done. They've been exposed, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, man, this is, I made this statement earlier today, and I simply said, listen, right now, and I could be wrong, but right now, I think the 49ers are showing everybody their whole scheme. You know, because you and I know, and anybody who watches football know, when you get into the playoff, you don't have that many targets. You don't have that many weapons. It's a different ball game when you get to the postseason. All right. And the fact that they're distributing the ball the way they're doing, you're going to need that one dog. The one thing I like about Philadelphia is that you see the situation is never a Devontae and a Julio Jones type game. It's one or the other. And they keep talking about Philadelphia don't have a run game. When they need a run game, we know what Swift can do. We know what Jalen can do, right? And then you still got to get your tight end healthy to come back in, right? But they win the way they win because less is more, right? When you finally get to a playoff situation, you don't know who's going to show up because one name we ain't even mentioned, but one time in one reception is not Julio Jones, but A.J. Brown. We haven't even heard about Julio Jones right now, who is known to be the beast in the postseason. You know what I'm saying? You give him on the floor to get his legs wet because he's been out for half a season, but he'll be ready by postseason. And that's going to be something deadly that the whole league is missing when it comes down because you ain't got no film on him. You know what I'm saying? That's a big boy. So
Not
people act
only
like
that,
go ahead.
not only that, we were thin on linebackers. Wait till our actual starting linebackers come back because we all saw the game. Who were they targeting the most? Our linebackers. Why?
Yeah.
Because they're bench players, man. They're not really starters, though. They kept on targeting linebacker after linebacker. They did not. Did you know they didn't even target Bradbury once that whole game?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I say this is football, you know. This, you know what I'm saying? You win some, you lose some. You see what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, the Eagles got 2 losses. Their first loss was by sub 500 team. Their second loss is by, above 500 team. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Losses are allowed in football. At the end of the day, the losses are allowed. It ain't like you can't lose. And a loss is a loss, is a win is a win. If you won by 3 or won by 45, it's a win. That don't make you that great of a team because you won by 45. You know what I'm saying? Because when the Cowboys blow somebody out, oh my God, they're the best team. They're Super Bowl bound. But they turn around and win by 3 or 4 points. Oh my God, they're struggling. They didn't need to get together. What? Makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
But I know all this stuff is real good when it comes down to, you know, conversations and media talk and stuff like that, because you got to be controversial. You got to throw stuff out there. But we don't do that on this show because we're not mainstream media. We keep it funky on this show, not to steal Cam Newton, and this is not Friday, this is Tuesday. So we just keep it 100% gridiron. This is what happens. You win, you lose, you lose. It's up to the guys on the field to determine how it's going to come out. But as fans of the game, we're not analysts, we're fans. And on this show, we're fans. When we get around to our friends and stuff like that, outside of this show, we try to be analysts. We try to use our philosophy and stuff like that. But on this show, we're fans. And the fans see what the fans see. The fans just want to see W's at the end of the day. And we're not going to trip over a loss. And right now, regardless of what the 49ers did to the Eagles are still the number 1 team in the league. Got to give them props where props do at the end of the day. But I am really, really tripping about this goddamn this Kansas City situation. I don't know. I don't know, bro. I don't know. That was a bad loss to me. That's the one that Kansas City need to have. Because they're going to make every excuse. And it's funny how they're still making excuses for the Kansas City Chiefs and saying that Patrick Mahomes is still that dog. And the goddamn Eagles or the Cowboys lose one game, and all of a sudden the narrative is crazy. But
I don't know, man.
Who was that said relax? That was Aaron Rodgers years ago with the Green Bay Packers. He said relax. Patrick Mahomes looked real confident in the post game. Said, "Hey man, happens what happened is what it is. You know, some calls were made, some calls were missed. At the end of the day, it's up to him to go out and lead that team. You can't leave it to officials to score. They're just going to let us play it down the end. So whether they call a pass interference or not, it's up to him to win that game. And he know that you can't leave the game in the ref's hands. You know what I'm saying? The game should have been it should have been a bigger margin. They should have been playing from behind. And he know that's on him as a quarterback, regardless of what you have on the field as far as your help is concerned. He know he's that good of a quarterback that he can make a superstar out of anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's on him. And I love how he take the ownership because we know it ain't the coaching. We know Andy Reid is a beast. And at the end of the day, it's those guys that are on that field on the offense. And he owned on that. That's what makes him great. And that's why he's still scary when it comes to the playoffs. Shannon Sharp was super pissed off about the Broncos losing that game against the Texans. And I still don't know why. He was upset.
Because you know who he played for, so
I know.
You know what's going on with him.
It's like on his Twitter, he turns around and had the big long caption FFFUUUCKKKKKKKK. You know what that means? FUCK and had all that. And he said, he said, what did he say? They needed that game. He said, this is a game we should have won. And I'm sitting back like, how against a high energy Texas team? There was no way I could see. Now, Russell Wilson got back to his form when it came down to his passing, but he also got back into the INT turnover column. So in the wrong parts of the game. And I watched Shannon Sharp talk about the Broncos as far as saying how they got a chance. Sean Payton marginalized Russell Wilson to just give them barely enough of what they need to win. And that's kind of how they've been winning and how they went on this long streak. And then he turned around this week and said Peyton Manning opened him up a little bit, and then this is what happens. The moment you start slowing down quarterbacks or trying to cherry pick a offense that suits them the best, you become predictable. You become predictable at the end of the day. And it is what it is. The Rams just destroyed the Browns. Joe Flacco looked good Good to see him back in the NFL. He looked well. He's been in the NFL. He looked good, but for the first quarter and a half. And after that, he reminded us that this is and in my opinion, future Hall of Famer Joe Flacco. This is Super Bowl MVP Joe Flacco. But God, dog, I mean, he reminded us exactly who he was when they said it. Like, oh, it was hilarious, man. I'm sorry. Not to pick on him. Last one of the day for NFL, man. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence going down. Was there any update on his injury?
No update at all. They're just saying that everything came out negative, but that they would evaluate it further, but nothing has come out at all. I wonder if they just want to keep it a secret until they release the injury report for the games on Sunday, you know?
Yeah,
I feel like
who
that's what
knows?
they're trying to do.
I mean, it was so hard. I'm gonna tell you, first of all, let me just go ahead and make this statement for all those who are watching this podcast that I made for myself fantasy football history. Now, for myself, I don't know what the rest of the world is doing, but this week, out of the 6, because I'm in 4 in ESPN and 2 in NFL, out of the 6 fantasy leagues this for the first time I've done this, that I've won every single game in fantasy. Crazy enough, in Monday night, I had number 17 for the Jaguars, Ingram. I had Ingram going against Trevor Lawrence in that game, and that was the deciding factor. And Ingram finally showed up for the first time in the whole season and gave me that win. He actually had more fantasy points than Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence goes out of the game. And another game, I had Trevor Lawrence as my starting quarterback, and the other guy had somebody but I was already ahead, so I was going to win that game. And then the other games, I had Travis Etienne. So, mind you, I'm like, I need the Jaguars to do good, but I don't need them to win this game. And obviously, and I had Joe Nixon on another one of my squads. So it's just like, man, I was up on Monday night, but at the end of the day, I woke up this morning. All 6 of my fantasy teams has won, and I'm excited. You know what I'm saying? And I beat Super Ready. So those who watching, I beat Ready in one of my leagues, man. So I'm excited on that. I'm climbing up the ranks in your league, Max. I think it's gonna come down to how does your playoff formula work in your league? Are we gonna get to play each other?
6 teams, two on the bye week, and then the other 4 play.
Are we on the same side, the conference, or just gonna be the top 2? We're on the same side?
I think so. I'm the top one in the league, so it doesn't even matter to me.
Oh well. Anyway, it's gonna come down to that, but man, but no, that kid that came in for Burrow, man, looked good, man. I like him, man. What's that dude's name? Jake Browning. Once again, we talked about this earlier. 354 yards passing, 1 touchdown. I mean, he got 22 yards in a rushing game, and a rushing touchdown. I mean, look like Joe Burrow to me. I don't know if he's that good, or it's a win by is that the next man up syndrome over in Cincinnati. It means they're being coached real well.
You're being coached real well, man.
And that's what I love about this time of season, because December going into January, all the talent in the world, you can get out coached in one game, because it's one and done once you get to the playoffs, man. One and done, you can get out coached. That's where the rubber meets the road. That's what happened with the goddamn Chargers and the Jaguars last year. They got out coached. You know what I'm saying? And the Jaguars came back from behind and beat that team. Now, you stated if the Patriots won that game, their coach should get fired over the Chargers. I still think he should get fired.
No,
After only putting up 6 points.
yeah, that's pitiful. Yes, he shut him out, but it's the Patriots. They're averaging what, like less than 15 points per game? Come on, you shut him out. Congrats.
Look,
it's the Patriots, man.
This year, week after week, history has shown the Patriots shut themselves out. They just can't score. They don't have the talent to score. And I feel sorry for Belichick because everybody is throwing it on him, and everybody want to act like that they don't know and they forgot that the coach he is. Now I get it that Patrick Mahomes, I mean not Patrick, but that Tom Brady was the guy. But y'all, let's not forget, don't do that right now. Because he's having a bad season, don't do that. Belichick is still a darn good coach. Don't do that. Don't get into this, oh, he's not, Brady made him, da da da. Don't do that. Don't do that. Come on now. Don't do
I
that.
mean,
Because
it's his fault. Brady said in the interview,
yeah,
I would have stayed with the Patriots if Bill Belichick would have
yeah.
asked me to stay. Bill Belichick stayed silent, never asked them once to stay.
It's his fault that Brady is gone, no doubt, and Brady didn't stay there. But I don't like how people are trying to make it seem like that he has been exposed. He's not a good coach because he can't win with Brady. I mean, y'all see his team. He ain't got nobody. He ain't got no help.
See, people are doing it for the wrong reasons. They're talking about he's not a good coach because of Brady. I based it off his coaching tree. Look at all the people he had under him, offensive, defensive coordinators, have not been successful as head coaches compared to Andy Reid and everyone he had beneath him. I'm basing it off of that. Bill Belichick, I, I don't know. He was good early 2000s, early 2010s, but soon as this decade hit, it's like everything just went downhill for him.
He remind me of there were, there are people who are, he's a systematic leader. He's not a builder of men. He creates a system that says, hey, if you play within my infrastructure, my system, we together, collective as a team, can work. But he didn't train up these guys to stand on their own. Unlike a Andy Reid, you know what I'm saying? There are some guys who are like that, man. You play within a system, or you play within an organization, or you work under them, you know what I'm saying? And all together, collectively, y'all guys can succeed. But once you start branching off, he didn't give you enough skills to do it on your own. You know what I'm saying? And that just may be in his personality, but at the end of the day, he was able to get it done with those guys. Everybody thought these guys were the cream of the crop and the best of the best because he allowed them to do what they do. But at the end of the day, each one of those guys, when they get back to their respective positions outside of being a head coach, they do what they do. They do what they do well. They're just not the head coaching job. Look at Brian Flores down in Minnesota. Okay. Back to being the bomb.com defensive coordinator like he's always been. You know what I'm saying? And I would expect the same thing for Josh McDaniels if he get a offensive coordinator job. He'll be right back to being the guy that we always know back in the Patriots. You know what I'm saying? He's just he need another tutelage when it come down to being a head coach. Maybe he had to go work for Andy Reid or Doug Peters or somebody to figure this thing out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But he's not the only coach that had great coordinators under him who coordinators didn't do good. You know what I'm saying? So I can go down and do another podcast on that about how many coaches who allowed their assistants to go out and they had no success. But because we can stop right here in Dallas and say, man, who came up on it out of nobody. I mean, none of these guys got head coaches. I mean, they just wasn't good fit for head coaches. I mean, but God dog, but these guys was terrible over here. I mean, my God. I mean, success collectively, but standing on 2 feet, not so much.
Speaking of head coaches, if Jim Harbaugh is out of college, what NFL team do you think will hire him on?
I'm gonna say a good team for him would probably be
I honestly think
the
it's the
Utah
Chargers,
Mountain
man.
Climbers. The Utah Mountain Climbers.
I would
Which means
plug
he
him
do
in
not
with
need to
the
be in the NBA,
Chargers.
NFL. He don't need to be in the NFL. Which one you say?
The Chargers, man.
Jim Harbaugh do not need to be in the NFL. He was already here. I don't why go backwards. I think
Because of the whole Michigan scandal, I don't think he's gonna play in college anymore. So might as well come
yeah,
back to the NFL, man.
but yeah, and that's his fault, getting caught up in that stuff like that. but I think college was made for him. I think his temperament and his attitude and his personality is real big for leading those young men. I don't think he has the skill set to motivate millionaires, you know. Because even though these kids have NIL deals, these are things that doesn't attach itself to the school. They still got to play within an organization. And I think that's what he brings to Michigan or any college team, right? I just don't think when it comes down to a grown man game where guys making millions of dollars, I don't think he has that temperament to lead those men. I don't think, especially at his age and how long he left the league and went to college. I just don't think he have it in it. I'm not saying he couldn't do it. And I hope that if you do come to the NFL, he'll make a believer out of me and change my mind. But at the end of the day, I just think college suits him well. I just think it does, he ain't the first coach that cheated. He ain't gonna be the last coach that cheated. This shouldn't be a complete just, what we're doing now in this day and age, a council coach. This not a council coach moment. You see what I'm saying? It happens. Like I said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's such a dark statement. But no, man, it is what that's like. No, I think he just does well as a college coach. Now, if he want to come back to the NFL, then more power to him. Everybody is looking at Deion, what Deion gonna do, Deion did what he did at Colorado, but I'm looking for Colorado to be a different team because I think he awfully said that he's made for college. He can't do the NFL. Everybody was assuming that he was going to come to the NFL with some of these coaches coming. He's like, Deion said out of his mind, he said he can't coach grown men. He can't coach millionaires because he said if he coached the way he want to coach and the way these guys be playing in today's NBA, he said, will nobody come out of the locker room at halftime? Everybody be bitched. He will forfeit the game.
It'll be worse than the Chip Kelly era.
Exactly. Because sometimes that's what these guys need. They need to be reminded that, you get paid $1 million, but you need to put your ego on pause and do your job, So, that's one thing has been echoed all on the sideline over in Colorado, talking to these young men, do your job, do your job, do your job, do your job, do your job. And so it's going to be this whole off season that you're going to be working on, do your job. But, this podcast has been fun. Join us once again Thursday. Who's playing Thursday? I forgot. It's been a good game on Thursday, but I forgot who's playing.
Yeah, it should be a good game.
Never mind. Patriots and the Steelers.
That's gonna be a good defensive game.
Yeah, the Patriots got me. We'll get our picks back then, but it's gonna be a good game. I guess
the Steelers win that game 9-3.
You said 90-3.
9-3.
This gonna come down to coaching because I know Mariota is what he is, and
Mariota,
but not Mariota, but Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky is who he is. This gonna come down to the game plan Mike Tomlin built around him, and that right there, and that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for Mike Tomlin because he should win this game hand down, right? But I'm waiting on Mike Tomlin to win this game, coaching this game, because you don't expect a lot out of Trubisky. You don't expect him to go out there and throw for 300 yards, right? You expect him to at least throw one INT. But it's how Mike Tomlin and his offensive mind is going to bounce back when you got that guy completely making those mistakes, and what type of game plan he put around him. Because we talk about how some of these head coaches, they don't put the right system around their quarterbacks, i.e. a guy dang Belichick, and how he did with Mac Jones, and now this other kid, Zappy, and then, of course, with Brian Daboll over there dealing with Daniel Jones and whoever they got, like Tyler Bagnett, whatever come behind him, and it's still not working. Not saying these guys are bad coaches, but they just haven't quite understood what these guys are good at. And it's too late in the season to try to figure it out. I think Mike Tomlin is the coach that can get it done in the middle of the season. He's going to figure it out. He's going to continue to win games with Trubisky at the quarterback, as his quarterback, until they figure out what's going on with Kenny. That's just my opinion. Could be wrong, but hey, we'll see how history plays out. But I'll definitely be tuned in, and we'll be back here Thursday for Week 14 pick'ems and the closeout of the Fantasy Football League. and I will be announcing the winner of the $50 whoever wins first place in the More Than Game Fantasy Football League, who gets in first place to the playoffs. I will be announcing that on Tuesday, who will be getting $50, whoever makes first place going into the playoff system after next week. Max, you got any final words for the people before we close out?
Zach Ertz, come home.
Zach Hurts, you heard that? Zach Hurts, come home, and somebody go find Prince Henry because he want to come home too. If you know who Prince Henry is, that's Carson Wentz. So get him to come back Philly, retire as a Philly, so we can go in their Ring of Honor.
Hey, Deshaun Jackson came back to retire in the Eagles, so yeah, I guess. So.
Oh, he did. He came back. Oh,
yeah, he signed a contract last week, so he can retire in Eagle.
T.O. come back home to Philly.
No,
What would T.O.?
No,
He's not gonna be in nobody Ring of Honor. He should be in San Francisco Ring of Honor, right? T.O. should be in San Francisco Ring of Honor. Whose team?
Cowboys, not us.
No, he's not gonna be in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. Definitely not. I say San Francisco. That's the team that got him, right? That's the team who made who he is. I mean, but ain't nobody gonna put. I think he's been blackballed from any. He got him his orange, his gold jacket, but I think that's as far as they're gonna do with T.O. Until he come back and make some type of humbling public apology. Ain't nobody gonna fool with him. But yo, that's it. This has been the EC22 the FairWeather Fan channel, man. Please like, subscribe, share, leave comments. And once again, don't forget that the FairWeather Fan cash giveaway is coming up soon. I told you in 2 weeks. So this next Tuesday, we'll be announcing the rules on how to get in on it, and then we'll let you know the date then exactly when it's going to be. But either going to be a few days after Tuesday or it's going to be the exact next week. But we're getting down to it. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and do it on the giveaway on next Thursday. Along with our pick'em, we're going to do the cash giveaway. I want to pick them. So not this Thursday, but next Thursday, we'll be doing a cash giveaway, $100 prize, and we'll let you know on Tuesday how to get in and win. All right. This your boy C22, the FairWeather Fan channel. You got your favorite Philly fan, Max, in the house, and we are out.